Hi everyone! Welcome sa ating channel. Welcome sa ating bagong video ngayon. Iniimbitahan ko po kayo mag-subscribe sa ating channel and please click the bell button. Okay, History of Dumaguete City. Local disputes during the Japanese occupation of Negros. When the Japanese occupied the island, the inhabitants' misery greatly increased. In the confusion of war that ensued, the problem of command jurisdiction rocked the island. More problematic was Negros Oriental, which had 3 military commanders and 3 separate overlapping organizations. Moreover, Colonel Absidi of Negros Occidental wanted all the other commanders to be under him. It was not surprising that Major Ausiho, one of the commanders in southern Negros, did not accede to Colonel Absidi's invitation to be under his command after the latter met with Colonel Peralta in Panay. In a letter of Absidi dated January 11, 1943, Ausiho laid down the reasons why he could not accept the invitation of Peralta and Absidi to join the 4th Philippines Corps under the 72 Division. He claimed that geographically the two provinces have their backs to each other and ACS. Flow of communication, food or reinforcements would be highly problematical. Administration now, because of the very poor facilities of communications, would be very difficult. Tactically, Negros Oriental operates with ACS or major enemy based at ACS Cebu. It takes 3 days to control or contact Mindanao and 1 day to contact Cebu. Your mails reach us in 3 weeks and fast couriers make the trip in at least 10 to 12 days. The short-lived Federal Republic of Negros. A mixture of reasons influenced the arrival of Americans in the island in May 1899. Take note, 1899. May 1899. Foremost was the Negrins' distrust of the Malolos government in Luzon, where both provinces were represented by representatives coming from Luzon. Moreover, the devastating bombing of Iloilo by the American Navy and the pragmatic reasons of some Negrins leaders to accept the new colonizers paved the way to the creation of the Federal Republic of Negros and its proposed constitution of a cantonal government. Intellectually, though the Negrins leaders showed their grasp and awareness of the political currents in Europe and North America as compared to their counterparts in Luzon. Eventually, the proposed constitution of the Federal Republic of Negros was not implemented. Instead, it was General Order No. 30, which functioned as the real constitution of Negros. In the end, after the visit of the Second Philippine Commission and after a series of consultations and conferences, both Negros Oriental and Occidental became regular provinces under the National Civil Government on May 1, 1901. Dumaguete during World War II. In 1924, Honorable Hermenegildo Villanueva was elected governor and a Capitol building was erected. The province experienced real war in a grand scale when World War II broke out in December 1941. The city was occupied by the Japanese Imperial Forces on 26 of May 1942. It was liberated on 26 April 1945 by the combined forces of the United States, Filipino soldiers, and the recognized guerrillas. The establishment of the local military general headquarters and camp base of the Philippine Commonwealth Army from 1942 to 1946, and the Philippine Constabulary 7th Infantry Regiment from 1944 to 1946 was stationed and located in Dumaguete during World War II. The war, aside from the physical devastation wreaked throughout the province, also left painful scars, which up to this date remain unhealed. But the people came out stronger and more determined. However, the people found out that the political independence they gained did not equate economic independence and self-sufficiency. Education in Dumaguete under occupation in World War II. Classes were closed in Negros Oriental by the end of 1943. Later, schools were re-established in Dumaguete, Tanhay, Bais, Central, and in some towns where there were Japanese garrisons. Elementary classes were opened at the Dumaguete West Central School. The school enrolled children coming from St. Paul College and from other schools in Dumaguete. They were placed in the particular grades they belonged when the war broke out. Books containing American subjects were burned. Very few children enrolled. Some classes turned out to have only 10, 6, and even just 2 pupils. High school classes were opened in Dumaguete and teaching of practical and vocational subjects were made compulsory for boys and domestic science for girls 12. The secondary school was not co-educational. The girls had their classes in Hibbard Hall, but the name of this building was changed to Rizal Hall. The boys had their classes at the Negros Oriental Trade School building. Adult classes in Nipongo were opened. The most popular and well-attended Nipongo school in Dumaguete was at the Assembly Hall of Silliman University. The Japanese policy was that every family should send a representative to attend these Nipongo classes. The streets of the Dumaguete from Legazpi Street to Bishop Epifanio Sorban Street. This was the street which used to be named after the first Spanish governor general and Adelantado Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, a colossal figure in the annals of Spanish colonization of the Philippines. The street ceased to be known as Legazpi Street when the name of Dumaguete's first bishop, Epifanio Sorban, replaced in 2005. Bishop Sorban served as bishop of Dumaguete Diocese from 1955 to 1989, during which time he established various parishes, a seminary, hospital, several schools, and even a radio station in the early 1960s. Bishop Sorban figured very strongly in the emergence of a wider ecumenical spirit between Dumaguete Roman Catholics and Protestants. This spirit of broad-mindedness and ecumenism appears to be somewhat diminished today in this university town. The streets of Dumaguete. San Jose Street. Calle San Jose was named after Saint Joseph the Worker, also known as the Carpenter, an earthly father of Jesus. His feast day of March 10 was an occasion when families reenacted the life of the Holy Family, welcoming others into their homes and sharing food with them. I used to pass by a favorite landmark of San Jose Street, an elegant white house with a front facade of American Southern plantation style. It was owned by the family of Jose E. Romero, former ambassador to the court of St. James and former of the late national artist of film E.D. Romero. As Dumaguete grew, the house changed from a well-kept private residence whose owners took pride in it into a structure that saw many uses, the last of which was the Dumaguete Rural Bank. Before the house was torn down in the past year or two, this house played an important role during the Japanese occupation in 1942 to 1945. The Rotary Club, which used to be one of Dumaguete's premier organizations, then was banned from meeting by the Japanese authorities. A Friday reading club took its place and members held their meetings at the Romero house for discussion presumably on more literary concerns and mahjong sessions. Jose Romero was a good friend of the Japanese garrison commander and had gained his trust. We are told that the Japanese officer used to attend some of the meetings of the Friday reading club and play mahjong with the men. In conversations, he would blurt out inadvertently certain vital military information to Attorney Romero, which would then be picked up and passed on the guerrilla contacts. The streets of Dumaguete, Santa Catalina Street. Calle Santa Catalina was named under Dumaguete's patron saint, Saint Catherine of Alexandria, known as the Warrior Saint. We read that she was chosen to be the town's patron saint due to the great need of protection against the southern slave raiders. Legends about her courage and physical powers were narrated by the town folks, who had observed that her image on certain morning would carry a more siko, a grass weed, clinging to the hem of her dress, and making them believe that the saint had gone out at night to drive away the pirates. I used to walk down Santa Catalina Street to go to the Dumaguete City Hall for some school assignment. As observed the City Council in action, City Hall was an old building built in 1937 with copies, shell, windows, and wooden floors that survived to the present. The building was refurbished using an attractive blend of Hispanic and native design. The street also took me to Dumaguete's Old Cruz Casa, Old Casa Espanyol district, which grew out of the original plaza complex. Its short side streets leading to Rizal Avenue, Burgos Street, and San Pedro Street bordered the place where homes of wealthy and important Spanish Filipinos used to be. Although many of these homes were torn down or converted into businesses, a few of them still stand. Old and sad reminders of Dumaguete's early life, whose younger generation adapted to modernization. The street of Dumaguete, Maria Cristina Street, branching off Siliman Avenue, heading south in Maria Cristina Street, west of running parallel to then Alfonso the 13th Street.
In these uncertain times, you're never alone.
Okay. Yan po ang mga history ng Dumaguete. So basahin na lang natin. Ang source natin is dumaguetecity.gov.ph. Okay. Medyo mahaba-haba ito. Tapusin na lang natin ito. Guys, kung hindi pa po kayo nakapag-subscribe, please subscribe na po sa ating channel. Maraming salamat po.